Hello everyone. Good morning, good evening. My name is Asit and welcome to Citrix ADM Service monthly webinar for the month of March. So my name is Asit. I'm the host and the panelist. I have with me Pons who will be talking about the app security side, and Sankta who will give a very good update on the upgrade and the security advisory. And then I have Paul who is from the Venafi team, and Paul will be talking about the Venafi solution. So I'll pitch the solution, and Paul will talk a little bit about why Venafi and how machine identities is becoming more important in the current context. So this is the agenda. So we'll start off with the intelligent SSL analytics, which I'll be talking, and how we'll know how we have taken the control of managing SSL certificates, and that control and the flexibility is now available to the application admin, who can manage everything related to SSL certificates for their applications, and how you can also seamlessly manage the complete SSL certificate lifecycle, including issuance, renewal, automated renewals as well with the ADM service Venafi integration. And then Sankta will talk about upgrade and security advisory. And finally, Pons will talk about how we can secure our application with the advanced analytics and bot insights. So let's get started on the intelligent SSL analytics and the Venafi integration. So let me first talk about the current state. So as we know, in the current state, also we give a lot of capabilities in managing the SSL certificate lifecycle. And you can today go to ADM SSL dashboard and do a lot of functionalities around the different stages of the lifecycle. Let me speak a little bit about each one of them. So today on the ADM SSL dashboard, you get a certificate expiry visibility, which is available for all the network admins. You also get to see which certificates are not complying to your enterprise SSL policy, again available at a SSL dashboard for network admins. You can create your certificate signing request from within the ADM, and after creating the certificate signing request, network admins then take it to the PKI team, and the PKI team work offline with a certificate authority to get a certificate. So it involves multiple handoffs between the network admins PKI team. And once the certificate is available, network admins can install the certificate on multiple devices from ADM. They can even bind the certificate to the application. However, they can do it only from the ADC, not from the ADM today. And there's no automated renewals, which is there as of now in the current state as we speak. And what the newer integration of ADM service with Venafi brings on table is now the application owners, the app owners get a certificate level visibility for all the expired certificates for their own applications. And you can ensure all the RBAC policies are in place, so the app owners see expired certificates only for their applications. So Citrix ADM's RBAC granular properties will help here. The app owner will also see which certificates are not complying to the enterprise SSL policy. So that also visibility is available for the application owner. They can create a CSR from the app dashboard for any kind of expired certificates or certificates which are due for expiry. And after creating a CSR, there is a workflow which gets triggered to the Venafi server. And from there, certificate is issued or renewed. And after getting a new certificate, that app admins can install the certificate from the ADM. They can also bind the certificate to the application from the ADM, which until now they used to do it from the ADC side. And there is automated renewals which can be configured based on the policy, and it will trigger the renewals process without any intervention based on the policy which has been configured. So this is a typical life cycle which an app admin will now follow with the renewed, with more flexibility and more control given to him. So they will identify all the expired SSL certificates for their application, and which will be indicated by a low app score, with the app score becoming red. They will then create a CSR, and this triggers a workflow to the Venafi TPP server, and they get a certificate issued. The app owners now use the ADM app dashboard to install the certificate on the ADC. They can bind the certificate to the application and thereby bring the app score back to a healthy state, which will be indicated by a green color. And this is a screenshot of the app dashboard with the new integration. So as we can see, we have introduced a new category called SSL config, under which there are different kind of SSL issues for the application. A not recommended key strength, which might be used for creating a certificate, or a certificate authority who has issued a certificate and who is not in the list of enterprise preferred CL list. expired certificates, expiring certificates. So all those categories have now been introduced as app dashboard performance and app dashboard security issues. And you can see over here, this is an application which is secure application and it has an expired certificate. And earlier we had these categories which were rolling up to the app score, mainly related to the app performance issues. With that, we have now beefed it up and added on the SSL side of things, which can impact the application security. Things like certificate expiry or due for expiry, not recommended sure, not recommended algorithms, key strength, things like that. They are now impacting the app score and roll up to the app score. And on your application, you will see SSL cert expired as a list of current as well as historical issues, and you get a recommended action to renew the SSL certificate. And once you create the CSR and send the workflow to the Venafi server, it will start creating the certificate and downloading the certificate. So I have a short video over here, and I will in that video take you through how it works in the actual product. So this is I have a certificate which has I have an application which has an expired certificate. On click of that, I enter into the details of the application and I see, okay, there is one virtual server which has an expired certificate. And below I see recommended actions and details. There is a SSL certificate which is expired. I get to see the details of the certificate as well. When I click on the certificate name, it will give me more details of the certificate. And after that, I can just create a CSR and trigger a workflow to the Venafi server. So I use the create certificate option. I'll just click on the renew SSL certificate and click on the create certificate option. And here I will put in additional details of the certificate signing request. As you can see over here in the issuer, I am selecting my Venafi server, and this I have configured earlier by giving the web SDK point of the server and the credentials. And I am filling in more details as part of the certificate signing request. We now have support for subject alternate name, which can help you protect multiple domains with one SSL certificate. This has been recently added to ADM service as well. And finally, password to protect the issued certificate. And here it will trigger the workflow to the Venafi server. As we can see, it is trying to create a certificate and download the certificate as well. And we can also go and install the certificate on the ADC from the ADM service GUI. Here I can select the certificate and I will get the install option. In this video, I'm not doing that. However, I'll move to the next step where I will bind the certificate to the application. For that, I will select one virtual server, and then I can use either the newly issued SSL certificate or I can upload a certificate to the ADM service and bind that to the virtual server. So here I am selecting one of my virtual server. The next stage, I can add a certificate or I can upload a certificate as well. So here I will use one of my certificate which has been issued and bind it to the virtual server. So as we can see, it is binding the application to the certificate to the application. ADM also has detailed audit logs. As we can see over here, we get audit history of what has happened in terms of bind certificate, unbind certificate, creation of certificate. So all those is available in the audit logs as well. And we can also go to the Venafi server, and over here we can see the certificate which has been created. So this is just keeping the Venafi server honest with whatever certificates is being managed on the ADM. So that's all I wanted to cover as part of the video. I will now pass on the control to Paul to talk a little bit on the Venafi side. Before that, I'll just let me talk about the automated renewals. So automated renewals, you configure your renewal policies days to expiry, and Venafi automatically a CSR is created, a certificate is issued, installed in the ADC, bound to the app, and the app score becomes healthy. So these stages get automated when you secure automated renewal while adding the TPP server. Now let's learn about some of the benefits with this new integration. As we can see, with automated renewals, there will be lesser human errors because of the policy enforcement. And of course, it reduces all the operational overheads of manually issuing or renewing certificate. There is reduced dependency because now the app admins are in full control of their certificates for their application. They have no dependency on the network of the PKI teams. And we also proactively prevent outages with the automated renewals, which require no human intervention. Flexibility of options because multiple CAs are supported in the Venafi marketplace, and maybe Paul can also talk more about it. So there is plethora of options to choose from, either in terms of the certificate authority or the type of certificates which each of the CA issue. And we are running a promotional offer for customers who onboard to ADM service and discover their ADC devices. We can roll out a limited period environment to try out the solution. So with that, I will now pass on the control to Paul to talk a little bit about the Venafi side.
Perfect, thanks, Asit. And did you want to go ahead and keep sharing, or do you want me to share my screen?
Yeah, let me share my screen. Sure. Paul, you can speak now.
Yeah, thanks, Asit. So Venafi, we've been helping organizations solve the machine identity management challenge for over 10 years. And before we kind of get into why, there's really a base message to understand first. And that's really that there are two actors on every network, right? You have people and machines, and people use usernames and passwords. Machines don't. They use something called machine identities. And when we talk about machine identities in this context, we're talking really about TLS and SSL certificates. And every year, businesses spend about $11 billion protecting those usernames and passwords, but are just now finally starting to get started protecting their machine identities in the same way. And the threat actors, they've already figured this out, and so they dedicate a lot of their time and resources on compromising those machine identities. Asit, if you could go to the next slide, please. We'll try and keep this brief. I know you guys have a packed agenda today. Okay, excellent. And so when we think about the perimeter and how it's changed, the challenges connected with machine identities have become much more complex over the last couple of years. Physical perimeter is gone with the adoption of cloud, mobile, edge, IoT devices. Remote work is more routine. And so physical security is less relevant. And it becomes a challenge on how you deny and allow access to your critical assets in your organization. Identity really has become the new perimeter. And so the definition of machines includes really all the new technologies found on enterprise networks. You have things like containers, clusters, services, and APIs. And because all of these things require machine identities to communicate securely, organizations need a way to manage those and keep track of them and have visibility, intelligence, and automation around all of those identities. And so it's important to put a system in place that can verify every machine identity. It can control access to those machine identities and to trusted users and machines, and allow security teams to inspect and analyze all the activities. And so that's why an integration like this one between Citrix ADM and Venafi is important, because it, again, puts kind of the application owners and ADM administrators back into control of their infrastructure, but it still gives the security team the visibility and the ability to put policy controls on those machine identities. So it really gives the organization the best of both worlds there. And then Asset, one more slide, if you wouldn't mind going ahead further. And so the way that we see it, we see humans really are the tip of the iceberg. They represent a fraction of all the identities an organization needs to manage. And the network is changing faster and faster every day. The number of people in the world is going to remain relatively flat, as you can see, and the number of devices is growing. And the larger problem is we actually think of applications and those things that I mentioned earlier, services, IoT devices, things like that, as machines that need identities as well. And so those are growing even faster at an exponential rate, with a huge inflection point in 2020 due to all the work from home and the pandemic and everything that we've been going through. And so it's these systems and these automated connections that keep businesses running. And so that's why it's super important and critical to manage the security surrounding them effectively. And so that's why, again, we're very excited to have partnered with Citrix on this integration and looking very forward to helping customers stop outages, gain speed that they need for their development and application deployments, and manage their machine identities effectively. Thanks, Asset. I appreciate the time.
Maybe Paul, you can speak a little bit on this slide as well.
Yeah, definitely. So main reason why Venafi is a big player in the space, we're the leader, the inventor, the innovator in the machine identity management space. And so you can see that by our customer base. We're targeting really the global 5,000 as our customer base. So you can see the top 4 of 5 US banks, top 4 of 5 UK banks, 8 of 10 healthcare companies, 7 of 10 top 10 US retail companies, and we are a worldwide presence. So we can say that we have the top banks in Africa, in Australia as well, integration with all of the top CAs, as Asset mentioned. And there are really over 40 connections to certificate authorities, both public and private, to the Venafi platform. And the nice thing about the Venafi framework is that it's adapted out of the box. About 90% of that work has been done, and so it's really a matter of plugging the 3 or 4 API calls necessary to integrate with the CA into our existing framework, and so it's extensible to that effect. And then we have, again, the rich features that Asset mentioned in terms of policy enforcement. So again, getting the security teams the ability, the ability to set and enforce policy that is consumed by application administrators. Automated renewals are going to help, again, mitigate that human error and prevent bottlenecks from manual processes. Again, very tight integration. I've worked with the Citrix engineers on this integration as they've built it out over the past few months, and it's one of our tighter integrations, I'll say, with that technology partner, because it uses our robust APIs and it's built directly into the product. So there's no additional downloads or anything like that. It's a very simple configuration where you're just putting in, as Asset mentioned, the Web SDK endpoint and a few credentials. And that last point there, you're not using licenses. I'm sorry, you're not paying for licenses that you're not using, right? Everything is based on consumption. So anytime that you're using an ADC license in your Venafi instance today, if that goes up to ADM, it's the same ADC license that you're using today. And happy to take any questions that you have. Yeah, thanks, Asset. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Paul, for joining us on this webinar. And Sankta, you can go next.
Thanks, Asset. Hi, everyone. I hope my screen is visible. I'm Sayukta from the Citrix ADM product management team. And today I'll be talking about two new exciting features which we've got new in Citrix ADM service, which is upgrade advisory and security advisory. So let's begin to have a look at how these advisories are going to help you, that is customers who are on ADM service. Let's first look at upgrade advisory. So why did we get this feature? We saw that most of our ADC customers had ADC releases, had their ADC fleet spread across multiple releases and builds, and needed to look at the Citrix product lifecycle metrics webpage at a regular basis to ensure that their ADCs are not reaching end of maintenance, end of life, and accordingly plan their upgrades ahead in time. So since this was a manual task, which was an overhead, we started off Upgrade Advisory with this use case to help you identify which of your ADCs are nearing end of maintenance or end of life, or have already crossed end of maintenance, end of life, so that you can plan your upgrade accordingly. Besides that, we also tell you if your ADCs are not on the latest releases or builds. So if you want to upgrade to take benefits from the latest and greatest features, as well as the latest bug fixes, you can do that. Now, many customers may not prefer to be on the latest build, but we've seen that most of the customers have something called as a preferred release and builds on which they would like all their ADCs to be. It can be either one release and build combination or more than that. So ADM now gives you the facility to configure a preferred build, and then it will tell you which all ADCs are not complying with this preferred build, and you can upgrade those. So essentially, all these three use cases will identify some issue or give you certain advice, and the action would be to upgrade. As you know, ADM service upgrade supports a very seamless, automated, and customizable ADC upgrade workflow. So you can leverage that to upgrade your ADCs. So we've covered this in the previous webinars. I won't go into too much detail, but a lot of time and effort is reduced if you use ADM service for your ADC upgrades. These are a couple of features which are there to help you automate, customize, and make the upgrade workflow seamless via ADM. We have blogs and YouTube videos on this as well, which you can look at offline. Now we will move over to the second advisory which we've introduced new, and that's security advisory. So with what thought process did we introduce this? Every time a new CVE is released by Citrix or a security bulletin comes out for the CVE, we see that customers will want to understand which of their ADCs are vulnerable, what are the mitigation and remediation steps, and how to execute on them. So this end-to-end process is also manual, and we wanted to automate it and make it smooth for you. And hence we've introduced security advisory. So firstly, it will help you assess your security posture. That is, it will do a version scan as well as config scan across all the CVEs and all the ADCs which are being managed by ADM service, and tell you the impact of the CVEs on your infrastructure. We run a system scan once every 7 days by default. If you want to do an on-demand scan as well, you can do that with the help of Scan Now. We'll tell you which ADCs are vulnerable. So we'll show you CVE impact on ADCs, and that is, one CVE is impacting how many ADCs, and we'll also give you reverse mapping of one ADC is being impacted by how many CVEs. So it'll help you understand which are your vulnerable ADCs in the infrastructure, and then you can move on to execute the remediation or mitigation. So we will guide you with the remediation details, which is typically a seamless upgrade to the build which has the fix. Or you can also look at the mitigation details we provide, and using a config job, you can execute it on all the vulnerable ADCs. We plan to automate this further in future by having ready-made config templates for the mitigation config steps. That's not there as of now, but nevertheless, you can still use config jobs to go ahead and execute those mitigations. And we look at security advisory to help you by being the one-stop solution for getting all these details, that is knowing your security posture, vulnerable ADCs, executing remediation, as well as getting all the details of all the CVEs at one place. We'll also show you the last scan reports so that you have historical context and know what has changed in recent times after applying the remediation, or maybe after having another new ADC in your infrastructure. So with that quick intro, let us now look at the demos. So under your networks in ADM service, you'll find a new tab called Instance Advisory, which has these two advisories listed. First one will be Upgrade Advisory. It will tell you your total infrastructure spread across MPX, VPX, STX. And as mentioned in the overview, it will tell you how many of your ADCs are reaching end of life, end of maintenance, are on the older build, or are on the not preferred builds. Now, how do you set your preferred build? You go to settings, and this is where you can set the build which your enterprise prefers. Anything which does not align with this will be shown up in this dashboard. And all these links are clickable. So if you click this, you'll get a list of ADCs which are falling under that criteria. You can select all of them and proceed to the upgrade workflow. This upgrade workflow you would be already familiar with. It's the one which is existing today as well, in which you select the ADCs you want to upgrade and continue with the pre-validation checks, etc., and either upgrade immediately or schedule an upgrade. Now coming back to the upgrade advisory, how will you consume it? So you can see that we have different cards. Each card represents a specific release, and all the builds in that release are listed here. If you have any ADCs on special builds, please note that we do not give advice on them. What we have in scope would be the main publicly available builds and releases. So you can see them. Here there is nothing to worry about because the EOM EOL date still has a long time to go. If the EOM EOL date has already crossed, or if it is coming up in 1 year, we will be showing it with a specific color coding. Here you can see that 11.1 has reached end of life, but you have no ADC instances, so nothing to worry about. Whereas here you can see that on release 12.0, although it's reached end of life, you have 3 ADC instances. So this is where you would need to take action. You can select the ADC instances here and again proceed to upgrade. We also give you the option to select ADCs across different cards. So if you want to upgrade the ADCs which are reaching end of life or have reached end of life, and also upgrade the ADCs which are on 12.1, say all these you want to upgrade to the 13.0 latest build, you can select them accordingly and then proceed. We will tell you what all ADCs you have selected. You can confirm that and proceed to the upgrade workflow. So this is how the upgrade advisory will help you. Apart from that, as you can see, we have a quick link to the release notes of each build so that you can see if the feature you're looking out for or the bug fix you're looking out for has come out in the specific build. And we also have some signs to show you which is the most downloaded build per release. So we often get asked which is the most popular build in a particular release. So we have marked that with the ribbon icon. And another icon you will see is the star icon that we use for preferred build based on the settings which you set here. So that is an overview on upgrade advisory. I'll now give you a demo of security advisory. So this is how it looks like. As I mentioned, we will run a system scan once every 7 days. You can see when the last scan has happened, when the next scan is going to happen. Please note that the scan is not going to impact your ADC configuration, nor your traffic, nor the resource utilization. So you don't need to worry about that. If you come here and see that the last scan happened, some time back, say 2-3 days back, and you want to get a latest report, you can run the scan now, which is an on-demand scan. Now, the way you can use this particular feature is you come to the current CVEs tab. It will tell you how many CVEs are impacting your ADCs and how many ADCs are impacted by your CVEs. So let's start with the scenario that you have. Maybe there's a new CVE come up, or you have 1 or 2 CVEs in mind which you want to remediate. So you come here, select that CVE. Understand that these are the ADCs which are vulnerable because of that CVE. See the remediation details. So if your ADC is on 13.0, you will see 13.0 details for the remediation. If it's on 12.1, you will see 12.1 as well as 13.0, so that you can take a call which release you want to upgrade to. Now say I've selected 2 CVEs here, which is impacting a couple of ADC instances. You can now proceed to view the affected instances, which will take you to the next card. And here you can see the ADCs are filtered based on which CVEs are being selected in the first tab. And you can select all of them and proceed with the upgrade workflow. In another use case, you might just start with this card. You may have 1 or 2 very critical production CVEs, 1, 2, 10, 100, how many ever, and you may want to see the impact of any CVE on those particular ADCs. In that case, you can start from this card, filter on the ADC instances or check what is the impact, and accordingly select them and proceed to upgrade. So that is about the current CVEs. This is the main place where you will see the impact of CVEs on your ADCs, get the remediation details and proceed to remediate it. This is the scan logs tab. Here we will be showing you the last 5 scans, be it a system-based scan or an on-demand scan. We will show you whether it happened successfully, failed, etc. And it typically would be helpful in cases where any details have changed. So say you've seen that 5 of your ADCs are vulnerable, you've gone ahead and upgraded them to remediate, and then you run a scan now. So you can actually see how the previous report is as compared to the latest report. So this is for historical report audit. And the last tab, which is the CV repository, which will be a one-stop view for you to get the list of all CVEs. So note that the CVEs which are in our security advisory scope are all CVEs impacting ADCs and gateways starting from December 2019. That is the starting point we've taken for now. So approx 15 plus CVEs you'll be able to see here. You can see the details on the vulnerability type, the date, the severity. If you hover over, you'll get the exact score of that CVE as well, and the remediation details. You'll also have a link to the security bulletin if you want to read more about that CVE. And we know that some customers may not prefer to upgrade immediately and may prefer to mitigate the CVE first. So in that case, you can expand and have a look at the mitigation steps as well for the CVE, which we have mentioned here. So that would be a way which you can use security advisory. Do have a look at these features and let us know what you think of it. I'll now move on to the next section. That is, if you are an ADC customer, you're still not onboarded onto ADM service, what do we have in store for you? So we have these particular advisories will help the ADC customers who have not yet onboarded to ADM service as well. And this we do with our initiative called ADM Service Connect based low touch onboarding, which we launched last year. For all those who don't know, I'll give a quick recap on this initiative. So this objective or initiative vision was to enable a true controller-led vision. These are some of the key components of this initiative. So we look at the ADCs being auto-connected to ADM service. How that is done is via 2 routes. One is the existing call home route. Most of you would be well versed with it. It's there since past couple of years and it's enabled by default, I believe, on ADCs greater than 12.0. And the new feature which we have released on ADCs is ADM Service Connect. If you upgrade your ADCs to releases beyond 12.157.x or 13.061.x, this feature will be enabled by default and it will help your ADC auto connect to ADM service. It will also start sharing some very basic metrics and events, exactly same as what Call Home shares, to ADM service. Now, with the help of that data, we can identify which customer or which org ID this ADC belongs to, and we create an inventory list for you. That is a list of all your ADCs and gateways. We also build some insights on these. We'll show you some key insights, as well as these new advisories which we have introduced. We will be showing a couple of glimpses of that as well in your insights. And once a customer comes onto this workflow, he can decide whether these insights are helpful. To resolve these problem points or to get more details on them, you would need to onboard your ADCs onto ADM. And that is a conscious call which you can allow. So once you come here and say that, yes, I want to onboard, that is when we will give you the options to onboard. And the new very low touch way of onboarding which we've launched is auto onboarding. It is enabled by ADM Service Connect. Since the communication between ADC and ADM service is already established, once you give a go ahead for onboarding, your ADCs will be automatically onboarded to ADM service. For those ADCs who don't comply with ADM Service Connect minimum release requirements, we have a semi-manual way of onboarding, which is script-based onboarding. And for those customers who want to leverage pool licensing or analytics, which requires external agent today, you can go with the external agent-based onboarding as well. This is an overview on ADM Service Connect. I've covered it briefly in the previous deck, which is it's basically a probe code or a process running in ADC. It's enabled by default from these releases onwards. It will help your ADC auto connect to ADM service and in future help you to auto onboard. And it will be sending limited metrics and events to ADM service, which helps us create the inventory and the insights. Now I'll show you how this workflow would look like. Please take a note that we are incrementally rolling out this workflow to the ADC customers. So, you may get, and the starting point of this is a product initiated email. So you may get it, in the next 1 month, depending on the incremental rollout. So this is how the first interaction would look like. You would get an email saying that we have some key highlights on your ADC infrastructure. You would get your org ID and customer ID listed here. And you can see a short summary of each of these insights. Like security advisory, you can see 3 ADCs are vulnerable, upgrade advisory, recent critical events on your ADCs, resource utilization, and deployment guidance. Now, to know more details on this or to take corrective actions, you'll need to click on Get Started. That will lead you to the Citrix Cloud landing page, wherein you can fill in your username and password. After signing in, you will come to our landing page of this workflow. You can read the details. These just mention that we are collecting data on your ADCs, using which we have built certain insights. And you can go through them, and if you wish to onboard and see the value, proceed with the wizard, and it will help you with the seamless onboarding. So you can click on Next, which will take you to the insights. Under each of these cards, you will see a summary of the insight, and the recommendations would be to onboard to get more details on each of this section and to execute the corrective actions. So security advisory, upgrade advisory, recent events. So these are some of the recent critical events which we've collected from your ADCs, and to get a monitoring of 200+ events and notifications across various channels, you can onboard. Similarly with resource utilizations, we show limited data, but once you onboard, ADM will collect a lot more data and will help you with performance issues and recommendations to mitigate those. So after you go through these details, you can proceed to the next page, which will list your complete inventory. You can pick and choose which ADCs you want to onboard to ADM. And the last step will be the onboarding step, in which we have pre-filled this with certain default data. The default way of onboarding would be built-in agent. If you want to leverage analytics or pool, you can change it to external. Now, assume I've selected 18 instances in the previous inventory list. It will tell me how many of them qualify for auto onboarding and how many of them qualify for script-based onboarding. This is done based on the version of the ADC, as I explained in the earlier slides. Now, all you need to do at this particular stage is let ADM know the username and password using which it can onboard the ADC. So it will onboard the ADC by authenticating it using this username and password. Once you fill this in, you just simply need to click on Start Onboarding, and the onboarding process will start for these ADC instances. It will take a couple of minutes. Meanwhile, you can proceed to the script-based onboarding if you have any ADCs which don't comply with auto. If you don't wish to do that, you can even proceed directly to ADM. Let me give a quick summary of script-based also. So script-based onboarding essentially will help you initiate the built-in agent on your ADCs. You can, if your all ADCs are connected, they have network connectivity, you can simply download the script and extract it on any one of the ADCs and run this command. If not, you would need to execute a CLI command on each of the ADCs one at a time. So assuming you've done that, you say that you've done that and move on to the ADC landing page, where you can see that your ADC instances have now been onboarded. You can also take a tour if you want of the ADM service, or simply start with the instance management page. So that was a quick workflow overview. The advantages here are multifold. You'll get a lot of promotional features. Note that these are free. You don't require any license. You can see that in this initiatives workflow, you'll see security advisory, upgrade advisory insights, other key insights which I just showcased. And after seeing this, we have a very low footprint way of onboarding as the auto onboarding which I showed you. So note that the prerequisites for this would be that your ADCs would need to have internet connectivity. They would need to have ADM Service Connect or Call Home enabled. I've given a link on how you can enable this, and these are publicly available in our documentation as well. If you Google ADM Service Connect, you would see that documentation. And you also need to have a Citrix Cloud account. If you don't have it, again, you can create a Citrix Cloud account easily by seeing our documentation. So we are rolling out this initiative incrementally to all the ADC customers who meet the above prerequisites, and the starting point will be an email. A couple of additional points to note here is the scope of the security advisory. I've already mentioned it won't impact your ADC instances or traffic. The scope scan is based on versions, that is version-based scan. What we do there is if a CV is being fixed on release xx.yy, all the releases below it, all the builds below this particular build will be considered vulnerable. So that is one way of scanning we do. And if required by the CVE, we also support config scan, which is we check a particular config pattern to be there on the ADC to determine whether it's vulnerable or not. So these two are in scope. There's a third way of scanning, which some CVEs require, which is custom scan, wherein you need to go into the ADC and check for certain logs or files. The security advisory scope does not support that as of now. And note that the security advisory in this workflow initiative, which I had just shown, the ADM Service Connect based low touch onboarding, that supports only version based scan. This is supported on main releases of ADC only, no special builds, and your ADCs would need to be greater than 11.0. We don't support admin partition, SD-WAN, etc. And this I've mentioned that CVEs are that are in the scope are beyond December 2019. So we have for this ADM Service Connect feature, which I just spoke about, you will see all the data governance docs available on our ADC documentation to know what details are being collected, how much time they are stored, etc. These are the URLs which you need to put in your allowed list of ADCs. We support this for VPX, MPX, and STX as of today. And for public clouds, we support it on BYOL devices. We don't support it on non-BYOL as of now. That is, it won't be in our workflow initiative. So that's all I had. You can have a look at our documentation. Let us know your thoughts and feedback. Please do try out these features. We believe they'll be beneficial for you. With that, I'll now hand over to Asit to launch the poll.
We now move on to the last section, which is on the app security. So with that, I'll make Pons the presenter. You have the control now, Pons. Please go ahead.
Sure, thank you. Thanks for the time and pretty interesting. Let's see how we can make it short so that we can keep your momentum, right? Hope you could see my screen. Quick check. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So let's quickly talk about why there is a lot of traction on the app security, right? I thought it makes sense to start with that. So let me make it show. Sorry, was there something? Okay, so on one hand, every customer learned that it is an inexpensive medium to talk to their customers in an ongoing basis. And on the other hand, cyber criminals learn that it is an inexpensive medium to exploit the customer network to steal the data, right? So that's the reason there are a lot of traction. The traditional way to protect the apps, like it's all about, okay, let's focus on the application vulnerabilities through the WAF-like tools and we are all done, right? But that's not enough because the hackers also evolved, wherein you know they no more target the typical app vulnerabilities, rather they exploit the business logic. I'm pretty sure it's too scary. Let's see how Citrix is prepared to protect your apps from those modern attacks, right? So there is a joke in security conversation where you quite often hear, like, if you really want to protect your assets, let's pluck out the Ethernet cable, right? That's of course a joke, because you cannot live without those things. But the same way, if you're really concerned about the bot and its malicious impact on your attack surface, what you can do, you can just block all the bot traffic, but you cannot, right? Because if you take a step back and look at the way a lot of organizations work, bot is it's part of their core business. In other way, it is a lifeline, because most of the organizations heavily adopt bot to provide a consistent and faster service to their customers. So in that case, it is very critical to have a solution that can differentiate the bad bots and good bots, and make sure that you run the business with the intent of what you want to do with the bots, right? So that's the context. Okay, so here are the couple of consequences of not having a bot solution, what I talked before. So the way I would like to summarize, like, unlike the traditional network attacks, where, unlike the traditional network attacks, the impact of bot attacks are no more limited to the organization's assets alone. Rather, it directly impacts the customer. Let's take a classical example, right? Let's assume that one of your customers is a healthcare organization, where assume that bots exploited their web apps, right? Completely exploited. Then think about a situation where the customer who relies on the web app of this organization to place an order for the life-saving medicines, right? Whatever may be the life-saving medicines. What would happen? He cannot place the order, right? So that's where I'm saying, like, the cost of not having the bot management solutions, it's not about just protecting your assets, rather it's going to impact your direct customers and in turn question your credibility across your customer base. So let's quickly get into what's the key values we can provide, right? Like organizations evolving with their app landscape. For example, pretty sure you might have heard about the evolution of apps, right? Traditionally, we all built the apps from monolithic architectures, and now we are talking about serverless architectures. The same way, hackers are also developing their hacking tactics to attack your surface with more and more powerful tactics, right? So just having that's the case, just having the ability to detect and mitigate through the basics of species IP based detection is not sufficient, right? So what we need is the ability to protect from a mutatable tactics that's followed by the hackers. That's pretty common these days. What we need, if I may summarize it on this slide, what we need is the ability to detect the early indications of a malicious traffic, like I said before, based on its behavior, because the hackers are using mutated tactics which you cannot detect based on the rules or based on the basic mechanisms, right? That's not sufficient. So what you need, let me reiterate again, what you need is the ability to detect the malicious traffic based on those behavioral patterns. And of course, the system should provide a way for you to mitigate as well, right? That's what we provide. So how we provide, and like any other machine learning tools, for it to work, it has to collect the data, right? So in our context, we collect the transaction records and metrics counters. That's basically from the ADM agents that's sent to ADM service that's on the cloud. And I think I forgot to mention the previous slides, for the behavioral based use cases, you need to have an ADM service, because that's a technological requirement. So unless you have the ADM service, you will not be able to get the benefit of those behavioral based use cases, right? So that's how it works. And one thing I want to highlight here, across our ADM service workflow, the way we orchestrated the workflow in a simplified way, where you should be able to observe the violations getting detected by the system and orient the contextual information that made us to detect a particular violation. For example, let's say content scraping, right? And you should be able to decide what to do next. At the end, the security, the effectiveness of security use cases, it's not about just telling you that there is an indication of content scraping, there is an indication of, let's say, the excessive client connections, right? That's not enough. What you need is a way to orient the information in context to your entire environment, like from which IP you're getting those requests and what made Citrix to detect that, right? Those kind of sufficient context that we provide, that you should be able to double click on our, the user screens, and then you should be able to act on it, right? And how do we enable it, right? And we are very careful about the experience, right? The first time user experience. That's the reason the onboarding, meaning how do you enable these particular compelling use cases, is pretty straightforward, right? So there are certain prerequisites, like I said before, you need to have an ADM service that's required, and then your ADC should be running in 13.0, right? That's a prerequisite. And the way it works, like you can go to our, the respective collector page, and you can add the respective app profile configurations, and then you're ready to go with those use cases. Now, this is the page I want to spend a couple of minutes, right? So, like I said before, we can detect the bots across the basic attack vectors. We don't want to ignore those scenarios, right? We do have a way to detect those things, right? But it's not enough. So what we're doing is we are spending a lot of our energy to protect your apps through the, how effectively we can protect your apps from the business logic abuses. For example, even these days, we are keep hearing a lot of breaches around the account takeover, right? Where the stolen credentials are heavily used to exploit your application landscape. So we are hearing about it. And the content scraping, right, where your competitors can constantly crawl the contents, and they can use it against your business, right? That's another big challenge. If we take a step back and look at these use cases, why we call out as a kind of a business logic abuse? Because these functionalities, you cannot block it, right? These are all required as part of the business, right? So that's the reason it is critical to have a behavioral based solution that can differentiate the legitimate access coming to your apps versus the malicious access request coming to your apps. That's very critical. So that's what we do. And Asit, can you can you initiate the poll, please?
Sure, Pans. So basically, this is a validation of a use case, and we want to check your thoughts if you find this information helpful. So basically, when a client connects to a Citrix gateway and is accessing a virtual app, so today, as part of the SDX Insight, we give the client side latency and the latency on the VDS server side. We want to extend it, and when from the VDS server, there would be traffic flowing to the Citrix ADC and again to the backend web app server. So we want to give visibility around the latency and the processing time on the actual web app server. So do you think if this use case would be valuable to you? So we have a poll question on that. Let us know what do you think about this use case. With that, we come to the close of the webinar. Thank you all for joining this webinar, and stay tuned for more exciting topic in next month's webinar. See you in April month's webinar. Thank you.